Welcome along to the Tenacious Bee podcast. I am your host, Ashley Bentley, and I am so excited to bring to you today's episode. We are on episode 3 now of Zen and the Art of the Mind, where we are looking at the intersection of arts and mental health. Today's guest is Jordan James, the autistic photographer, and we have an amazing discussion all about how he found his photography and how that has helped his mental health and his journey as an autistic advocate. I'd like to thank today's sponsor of the podcast, Integrative Coaching, Breathwork, and Hypnotherapy. All sessions are done via video call, which means you can be anywhere in the world and we can have a session together. That's right. Integrative is my company. So if you would like to work with me, please feel free to get in touch. integrativeiom.co.uk is the website, or you can email me on integrativeiom@gmail.com. If you'd like to be a sponsor of the Tenacious Bee podcast, please do get in touch. The email address is tenaciousbeepodcast@gmail.com. So without further ado, I am pleased to bring you Zen and the Art of the Mind with our lovely guest today, Jordan James, the autistic photographer. Enjoy. Welcome along, everybody, to Tenacious Bee. We are right in the middle of Zen and the Art of the Mind, where we are looking at the intersection of arts and mental health. I'm so excited with our guest today. I would like to introduce Jordan James, a multifaceted individual whose passion for photography and neurodivergent advocacy has left an indelible mark on the community. As an autistic photographer, Jordan channels his unique perspective into captivating imageries, using photography not only as a form of self-expression, but also as a means to connect with the world and spread his message of neurodivergent advocacy. Through his lens, he captures the beauty and complexity in nature, and through his advocacy, he challenges stereotypes and fosters greater understanding and acceptance of the neurodivergent experience. In addition to his remarkable photography, Jordan is also an accomplished author, having penned 2 books, his first one a little different from the rest, and the most recent one, I want to talk about this one. It sounds really amazing. I want to talk about both. The Autistic Experience, Silenced Voices Finally Heard. So this book delves deep into the nuances of the autistic experience and offers poignant insights and shedding light on the challenges and triumphs of neurodivergent individuals. But beyond his creative endeavors, Jordan is a devoted father, husband, and explorer of the mind. His personal journey navigating through life as an autistic individual informs his work and fuels his commitment to promoting inclusivity and compassion. Recently, Jordan launched his own podcast, The Neurodivergent Experience, where he engages in candid conversations about the joys and struggles of neurodiversity. Through his podcast, he seeks to amplify diverse voices and inspire positive change in society. Jordan's photography has garnered international acclaim, with his work featured in exhibitions and publications worldwide. He has over 100,000 followers on social media. He's a busy guy. Through his artistry, advocacy, and literary contributions, he continues to challenge stereotypes, spark dialogue, and cultivate a more inclusive world for us all. So please join me in celebrating Jordan James, a beacon of hope and inspiration for the neurodivergent community and beyond. How about that?
Yeah, I can also sing.
Excellent.
Just to annoy more people of like, what can't this man do? Just let you know, I can sing as well. Yeah.
Well, this is news to me. This is news to me. I'm gonna
This is
have.
news to me. I just decided this. I can sing, so I'm gonna be a singer now. No, I'm not really. There you go. I'm gonna turn all my supporters and I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna be a singer now. Yeah, let's get rid of the photography. I'm bored with that.
I love it.
ADHD's kicked in. I need something new. I've decided to be a rock star. That's the way that's going.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I forgot to mention that a lover of basketball as well.
Oh God, I love basketball. Oh, yeah, I love basketball. I think I like basketball more than other sports because it's just continuously moving.
Yes.
So I'm like, from my hyperactive brain, it's very stimulating because there's constantly something happening. I
Yes.
don't get bored. Because what I do is that I tend to I'll watch the NBA app. So I watch pre-recorded games. So all the bits that stop, like when they have timeouts and half times and things like that, and quarters, I can just skip all that,
Nice.
and I just continuously, yeah. So it's almost like stimming for me.
Yeah.
I get a lot of joy. But what I also do, because I can't stay still very much, I have a walking pad that I drag out of my conservatory and set up in front of my telly, and it goes about 6 kilometers an hour. It's about just over 4 mile an hour, I think. And I'll just jog or walk while watching basketball all at the same time. And I'm just like, this is the perfect life. Just constantly, like, I'm moving, my brain is stimulated, my body is stimulated. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm losing weight and looking good because of it. So it's
Amazing. Amazing. Ticking all the
positivity.
boxes. I love it when, yeah, when you can combine several different things to tick a number of boxes at once. That's excellent. That's excellent. Well, I want to let all of the listeners know I found you online, as so many people have, right not long after I found out I was autistic. Now, I haven't spoken much about being autistic on the podcast yet, so this is a perfect opportunity to really talk about it and
It's
explore it
always a
and
good
celebrate
time.
it. Sorry?
I say it's always a good time to talk about being autistic.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when I first found out, like so many people do, I it became my special interest, and I was just doing a deep dive, going online, reading everything that I could. And I can't remember which autism Facebook page that I was a member of, but somebody shared one of your posts, and it was a very poignant, very personal account of the your upbringing, the traumatic childhood, and but through it all, by the end of the post, it was like, this is who I am. The strength, the vulnerability, and the strength that was portrayed in that post, I just immediately was so inspired. And we don't have the same sort of upbringing, but I had my own traumas and a very difficult childhood, and I just instantly thought, gosh, this is somebody who is really telling it like it is, but not being a victim, and really discussing how it has shaped you and how it continues to shape you. So yeah, I would love for you to sort of give a bit of a background into, because you were late diagnosed,
Yeah.
and how photography has really just completely changed your life, how your artistic endeavor has really helped.
Yeah, it's almost like an age-old story now. I feel like I've said it so many times, but if I don't talk about why I'm doing what I'm doing, or the journey that I went on through such a short period of time to sort of get to a better place because of photography, I feel like I'm just missing out like the most important part of my autism advocacy, of my autism journey. So essentially I was diagnosed about 2015, something like that. I'm not good with those memories. But like, after I was diagnosed, I kind of was like, oh, this is fantastic. I have my answer. I was really happy. I actually looked at it as an opportunity to, start again, with, like, reset my brain. And I'm like, okay, all these years I've been struggling, not knowing why I do the things I do. Now I do know, and now I can live. I can be free of this misunderstanding of myself, let alone people's misunderstanding of me, because I've always rubbed people up the wrong way. That is always going to be me, that's present me, that's future me, that's past me. But my problem wasn't the fact that I did that. My problem was the fact that I just didn't know why I did that. It
Yeah.
didn't stop me from being me. I'm still incredibly frustrating to a lot of people, and I'm okay with that because I don't care. Like, I will always just be me. And the best thing about my neurodivergent journey is the more I understand myself, the more I accept myself. So when I am me and others try and make me feel bad about being me, I'm like, you can't do that anymore. You can't make me feel bad about being me. So that didn't happen straight away. A lot of that was thanks to you.
Oh,
I will happily say that. Um, and but photography was the first thing that sort of came into my life that genuinely made me feel really happy about being autistic. So I was happy that I had the answer. But then I started sort of doing the whole questioning, am I actually really am I? That whole, when you see other people or people doubt it or people go, oh, I don't think you are. And yeah, I went on a journey, of self-discovery, and like you, I'm hyper focused on my new special interest, which was being autistic. Um, and I would tell everyone, like, so when I hear that people, especially in people in position of authority, people who have a voice, have an opportunity to speak up on behalf of um, being autistic, not on behalf of the community, but on behalf of themselves, but as an autistic person. And I don't see them do that. I I kind of get really upset, not upset at them, upset that society has created this stigma that makes people worried about being who they are.
yeah.
Like, some of my closest friends don't tell people they're autistic ADHD, and they'd rather just go, oh, I'm ADHD, because there's less stigma, there's less negativity, there's less infantilizing of ADHD diagnosed people than there is of autistic diagnosed people.
Yeah.
But we can talk about that a bit later.
Yeah.
So 2018, I made a mistake at work. If I was going to blame anyone, or blame anything, I would say that the reason is because I got very distracted in a moment where I was supposed to be doing something, and I didn't do it correctly, and so I put that down to being hyperactive, like just that brain of like, oh, okay, I've done this thing, and then the other things just go out of my head. They just gone because I'm so hyper focused on the things that I felt were important, which was dealing with the situation. Because I work in security, I was dealing with the situation, and then after you've dealt with the situation, you have to report it, and the reporting part just went out of my head. I
Mm.
can't explain it; it just did. Because I was like, well, the most important thing is that I deal with the situation. And once I'd hyper focus on that, I was so tired that I just forgot to do the reporting. Um, and I got in a lot of trouble for it. And my manager was basically saying, oh, you've done this because you're autistic. And he was saying, don't worry, I'll look after you. Um, I'll sort it all out. Like, he was my mate, like he was my friend. So I never actually got in trouble because they hid me behind my autism label. I never ever used autism. I never gave any excuse. I never said, oh, it's because of this. I just went, I I made a mistake. I'm holding my hands up. I'm really sorry, but at least I did my job. I just forgot to tell people that I did my job. So for me, I was like, well, it can't be that bad because I told them the next day.
Yeah.
So I was like, this shouldn't be something I should be being like actually threatened for, like with a disciplinary or anything like that. I just thought, well, I made a mistake. Just be like, next time, don't do that. Or, put a sign up, in your office, which I ended up doing. I put a sign up next to me in my office saying, remember to report. And I was like, that should have been enough. But they would just on and on and on and on. You should have done this. You should have done. I'm like, you're already making me feel worse. Like I already feel bad. Like I have a lot of pride in everything I do. Everything I do, I want to do it to a really, really good degree. When I don't, it's not because I don't care. It's not because I wasn't trying. It's because my brain is so easily distracted or so hyper focused that I can't concentrate on other things that I then make mistakes.
Sure.
And I'm like, but I don't want to. And the last thing I need is someone making me hate myself more in that moment. And
Yeah.
that's what was happening. And though they were, trying to help me, what happened was that I ended up literally hating being autistic, which is weird because like being ADHD, I don't see them as separate, by the way. I just see them as it's just my brain. But for the sake of like, diagnostic criteria, whatever, ADHD was something was the real, alleged cause of my distraction. Being autistic actually wasn't anything to do with it, but then I just went down a spiral and I hated being autistic. I just hated it. And my boss and I, we said, okay, how are we going to combat this in the future and make sure that, you reach your full potential? Because I was in charge. I'm a manager at my work, and he's obviously second line manager.
Yeah.
I'm in charge of a team, and I felt like I'd let my team down. I felt like I'd let myself down. I wanted to quit my job. I was like, I'm not good enough anymore. And Sylvia, my wife, she was like, no, no, you're not going to quit. And this was a mistake. But I went down such a rabbit hole of just absolute self-destruction because I was like, I'm crap. I'm rubbish. I am filth. I am terrible. And that is always where my brain goes whenever I feel like I've made a mistake. I will do to myself what people in my childhood did to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I will always have that memory of like, I make a small mistake. I don't think it's that bad. And I'm so badly told off. I'm or physically beaten because I had so much abuse thrown at me when I was a kid that I end up going, oh, well, I've made a mistake. Well, what is the reaction to that? Oh, well, I think I should abuse myself because that's all I know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to not hate myself. Like I don't know. So I basically stuck with the job, which was making me miserable because I had to earn money, because I have to pay the mortgage, because I have to pay for things for my kids, and I have to, I'm the dad, I'm the husband, I have responsibilities. That's what really kept me going throughout it. But unfortunately, I didn't deal with my self-hatred. I just focused on, oh, I need to be better at my work. And I was. Like I hyper focused on my fitness and my physical health. I lost loads of weight. I actually got ripped. I had a six pack and everything, and I felt like I was in a really good place because physically I was better. I was better at my job. Everything was about my job, and I literally said the words. And this probably will shock a lot of people who follow me. I actually said the words, oh, I'm leaving my autism at the gate at work. So when I come in, I don't have the autism anymore. Like I'm leaving my autism outside my work. Like I was desperately trying to separate
Yeah.
myself from this affliction that was destroying me and ruining my life. And that is how they made me feel. So obviously I got depressed. It's not, that's what happens. This is why I advocate so much, and this is why I almost do it to like an almost an aggressive way. I'm not almost an aggressive way. I'm like, no, you don't stop. Like, because I'm thinking about like myself and like what people did to me, and then I see people doing that not just to people but to children.
Yes.
Like, oh, you can't be the autistic. You have to change the way you are. And I'm just coming in like, like the Hulk. I wish I was more like Professor X, just like really chill. I'm like, I'm going to change. No, I'm Hulk. I'm like smash, smash, angry smash. And I'm like, stop that. Just stop it. Stop making kids feel bad about being autistic. Stop making people think autism is something that destroys
Yes.
families, destroys you. It is not. And it took me a long time to feel better about it. And that's where the photography comes in.
Wow. Wow. And to those listening, the fact that your mind went right back to childhood and those feelings that you received when you got a telling off back then. We build our model of the world, all of us, neurodivergent, neurotypical, we all build our model of the world in those first 7 years of life. So, and we're supposed to be, in those first 7 years, we're supposed to be loved unconditionally. And when that doesn't happen, it really it really affects how we handle things in the future. So it's no wonder that that's where your mind went to during this time. So amazing. So yes, so I know about a bit about how photography began, but I can't wait for you to tell the listeners, how did you discover it and how quickly did it just change everything?
Yeah, so towards the end of 2018, I was watching an episode of South Park, as I often do. It is my mecca. It is my place. So I was watching an episode of South Park, and Cartman was just doing what he does, which is just being awful. But he suddenly realizes, oh, I can get some attention if I say that I'm depressed. So he starts listing symptoms of being depressed. And I had never actually heard a list of symptoms that said someone was depressed. I just felt like I was always down. So I'd be like, oh, I'm depressed. But I wouldn't actually go, I have depression. I just, oh, I feel really depressed, which is, there is definitely a difference between feeling depressed and having depression.
Yeah, yeah,
Huge, like a huge difference.
yeah,
So I was like, oh, I'm just depressed. I'm not feeling good. And then as these symptoms were being listed, I'd never heard them before, and I went, oh, that Cartman in a cartoon just described everything that I am feeling, and that I am, because I started becoming really reactive, like very easily losing my temper. And that is a huge symptom of depression. And that's the one that I think triggered me the most. I was like it's unusually a lot.
yeah.
Like everyone gets angry and I have meltdowns, but I was having meltdowns constantly
Wow.
because I was trying to just not be myself. I wouldn't let me be me.
Yeah.
And I had depression. So I went to the doctor. They sent me to Time to Talk, which is just useless, by the way. Um, I'd already had CBD. Is it CBD?
DBT.
CBT. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
already had CBT for my anger issues, which didn't work
Yeah.
because CBT is not made for the neurodivergent mind. But that was a few years before that. Um, so I wasn't particularly impressed with Time to Talk because that's where I went. But I called them. Um, the first load of rings went to an answer. Went to an answer phone. Said, "Oh, please leave a message." That message box was full. Then I got redirected to another message box. That message box was full. I got redirected to another message box. That message box was full. And then the phone went dead. I never even got to leave a message, let alone talk to someone. And when that phone went dead, it went dee, and it felt like that was me.
Oh,
That was my heart just be. I'd flatlined. I was like, well, now I am just on my own. I went to my company. They weren't great at all. They had no idea what was going on or how to deal with me. They were talking about occupational health and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't, I need help. I
yeah.
need guidance. So I was looking into like, oh, what makes me happy? Because I was just desperate to make myself happy. Because for me, when I'm in a position where I'm like, okay, I'm sick, because when you have depression, you are sick. It's a sickness. You are ill, and I'm like, okay, I need to make myself better. So I was like, what can I do? And creativity is a huge part of like becoming like better. Like that's why people take up like art and drawing and any sort or drama, anything that makes you creative. Because once you start creating, once you start building something and making something rather than destroying things, which is how I always feel like I'm just destroying everything. So when you start creating things, you start feeling better about yourself, and
Yeah.
you go, oh, I don't just hurt people, I don't just destroy, I don't just break, and people don't just hate me. I can make something. So I started taking random pictures, and I really enjoyed it. I was out on walks with my dogs, and I was really enjoying being in nature. It's you know I mean, some people don't, but most people do. Nature. And I was taking pictures. I was coming home and I was looking on my phone, and it was making me calm. And then I would start playing with those pictures on Photoshop, just on my phone, just playing around with them, making them different colors, putting different filters. I'm not good at Photoshop. I'm still not good at Photoshop because I just play around. I just have fun.
Yeah.
Whatever I end up doing with one of my pictures, whether it's like a gentle edit or like a really over the top colors, all different. It's literally just because I'm having fun. I am mentally trying to stimulate my brain to make myself happy.
Yeah.
So that was my photography, was just, oh, I'm just making myself happy. I'd go and take the pictures, I'd edit them, but that was it. I never put them on social media. I never did anything with them. They were for me and they made me happy. And lots of people started saying, my friends who saw them were like, oh, these are really good. And I was like, no, no, they're all right. I mean, I like them. And they're like, no, we like them. And then my friend was like, can you get that printed? Can I have that picture? And I was like, yeah, of course. He got it printed to a size. It was like an entire wall.
Oh,
It was
wow.
huge. And I was like, dude, I didn't know you liked it that. He goes, that is one of the most beautiful pictures I've ever seen. It was like the light coming through these trees at Ashdown Forest,
Ah,
which is great because that's Pooh Bear. Ashdown Forest is where Pooh Bear's from. It's the 100 Acre Wood. So I'd go there and like be taking pictures, and I was like, oh yeah, it's a really nice picture. But I'm like most people, I think, especially traumatized people, find it very difficult to feel good about anything you're doing because
yeah.
you're so used to people going, oh, that's crap. After you've gone, oh, I did a really good job. Do you like that? And they're like, no, it's rubbish. You're worthless. Oh, I could do better than that. Blindfolded. And I'll be like, oh, I thought it was really good, but obviously not. So I had that in my head. Like, why are people telling me it's good? That doesn't make sense. I can't do good things. That's ridiculous. But everyone was like, no, that's really pretty. And then my daughter was like, oh, you should put that on Instagram. And I was like, I have no idea what that is. Like I've heard it, like I know my kids use it. I'm like, I hated social media. To be fair, I still do a bit. But yeah, I hated social media. And I was like, oh, I'll just put it on Instagram, start a little page, whatever. I didn't really know what I was doing. But then I thought, oh, do you know what? I'm getting really good really quickly. Like so many people were like, that's amazing. Like, how long have you been doing it? And I was like, two 2 months. And they went like, 2 months. You're taking these pictures after 2 months. And I went, yeah, I took this one, which was called Pony Heaven, a week because I've got it dated. So if anyone ever doubts that this is the truth, I've got it because obviously when you take a picture, it dates it, right? Because it's a digital image. So this picture is dated um, a week after my birthday when I bought my camera. So the first actual camera I bought a week later, I took a picture called Pony Heaven, which then ended up winning awards. It was on TV, it was in magazines, on front covers. It was crazy. And I took that after a week, and I was like, oh, I did this after a week. And there's photographers that have been doing it for decades, and they're like, are you joking? And I was like, no, is it good? And they went, well, yeah, it's you have like everything's there. And I was like, oh yeah, by the way, that picture's even on a billboard advertising Sisbury Ring where I took it.
Oh wow. Oh
Like if
wow.
you go into car parks, it's on the billboard advertising the area.
It's an
And
amazing shot. It's an
it's
amazing shot. I'll have to post it.
it's crazy. I look at it back now and go, yes, right. Compared to some of the pictures I got now, I'm like, yeah, yeah, I was all right. But that was like a week after I started. And then I started going, oh, what? I don't know how I'm getting this good this quickly. I don't know. And I was like, oh, this is because I'm autistic.
Yeah.
And as soon as I thought that, it was like it it was just there. And all of a sudden, everything that I'd hated about myself, everything that led up to this depression, it didn't fade away immediately, but I saw the light. I actually was able to see the light and go towards it. So every time I went and did pictures, every time and then what I actually did on social media originally is I just joined like a local group with like a couple of hundred members. And I just started posting on there, and everyone was like, I'm really sorry, um, but this is actually a site for amateur photographers. And I was like, yeah. And then we're like, oh, yeah, just like beginners, just straight up beginners. I was like, yeah. And they were like, yeah, I don't think this is the right place. And I went, I've been doing photography for like 3 months. It just, does not that make me a beginner? And they went, you've been doing what now? And I was like, yeah, um, I think it's because I'm autistic that I just got good. And they were like, and that was it. And I thought they'd be going, oh yeah, using autism as an excuse. They didn't. They were so nice. They were so lovely, and they were like, oh wow, being and it was almost like me saying I was autistic. In my mind, they were going to see it as like some sort of negative thing. But when I said I'm autistic and that's the reason why I can take these pictures, all of a sudden they were like, oh, that makes total sense. And I
Yeah.
was like, that's the first time I've ever heard anybody being positive about me being autistic other than me and my family, obviously, but like strangers, I've never met these people, and they were so flipping nice. And I was like, I like photographers. Photographers are nice to me. This is my community. This is my place. And everyone was like, you should be posting these on bigger pages. Like they're wasted here. And then Horsham District Council saw them and wanted to use them in a campaign. I was like, yeah, okay, that sounds really cool. And all of a sudden, for the first time in my life, I was doing something and everybody was saying, this is great. And they didn't need to say that it was great because they were saying it was great before they knew I was autistic. Like I said, they were complaining because apparently I was too good to be in some amateur group. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm here. I belong. I'm being pushed away from the amateur group after being doing photography for 3 months. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And then I started posting on this thing called Memories of Horsham, and I made some really nice friends. And then ITV wanted to do a piece on me um, about like how I see the world differently through my lens and how I on my journey and blah blah blah. So I had to start a page for them to be able to go and look at all my pictures.
Right.
So I went, oh, I'll just start a page, and I just called it Joe James Autistic Photography, and because I still didn't like I didn't like the idea of being judged. Like I don't actually enter competitions. I entered one competition, I won it, and I've never entered another competition. Like I was just like, I don't enjoy competitions.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
Do you know why? Because I always feel like if I lose, I feel bad, and if I win, I then feel bad for the people that lost.
Yes.
So no point even if I win a competition, I don't feel good. I will always just go, oh, that's really sad, because when it
Yeah.
comes to art, it's subjective.
That I was just about to say that it's totally subjective. So it's totally, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So if I
yeah.
if I if I if I play someone one-on-one in basketball and I win, I'm just like, yeah, I feel really good
Yes.
because that's a physical one-on-one challenge. There's a winner, there's a loser. There's definitely a difference between sport and other sorts of competition because, like I said, it's subjective. And I don't
Yes.
like the idea that there is a stranger out there that might like or dislike my picture simply based on bias or prejudice or their own thought of what makes a good picture. So I had this fear of like being judged, especially after I started becoming popular and there were like other photographers getting involved. And I was like, yeah, this isn't photography. This is autistic photography. This is completely different from your photography. This is my photography. This is autistic photography. Not so I could hide behind it, but almost like so I could just be like really proud of myself and put like a shield up, say, you can't attack this because you don't understand autistic photography.
Yeah.
So I was like
Yeah.
protecting myself, but also advocating as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
saying, this is only good because, autistic people did it. Like, and then that's how it began. And I just felt way better about myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing.
That's
Amazing.
the
And
short version.
yeah. And I'm trying to think now. I think it's been about 3 years since I've been following you and your journey. And again, one of the things that I love about you is you're so ready to be vulnerable and honest about everything that you're going through, whether that's in relation to photography or just life in and of itself. But I always love it when I see you saying, I'm going to my happy place today. I need this. I need to be out in nature. I need to be, my photography saves me. And your nature photography, I suppose the majority of your photography is nature, isn't it?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is
I
so,
can't do towns.
sorry.
I don't do towns.
Right, right, right. Yeah, it's just it's mind-boggling the beauty that you're able to capture, not just with with animals, but also trees and the combination of the two. I mean, you have a few pictures, and I'll need to do a post highlighting some of these shots. They're just amazing. But some of your pictures of trees almost makes the trees look like they are human and interacting with, it's just amazing how you can really capture a moment. So yeah, what goes through your what is your, do you have a process, or do you just take your camera and
No,
I'm just going to see what happens?
honestly,
Okay, so there is science behind my ability to become such at a like a professional standard, but I'm not a professional photographer because I don't get 50% of my wage from photography. I don't get like 5% of my wage for. I often forget that I sell photos, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that. I'll tell you something quickly. When I first started and people were like, "Oh, can I buy? I really love that picture." I would just send it to them, and people were like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, they said they really liked it, so I wanted them to have it because it made them feel good." And they were like, "No, you should charge for that." I was like, "Why?" And they were like, "Because it's your art and it's worth something." And I was like, "But if it's my art, then I can give it away." But then more people were like, no, like, and when I started trying to give it away, they were like, don't give it to me. I will pay you for this. And I was like,
Nice.
oh, okay. And that is how I started selling my photography because people convinced me that they didn't want it for free. And now that's why I only charge £10 for a digital picture, whereas a lot of people charge way more
Yes.
because
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the minimum I can charge is literally just a tenner for something that makes people happy. And that's all I care about is that picture makes someone happy and it's on their wall, making them happy. And I'm like, okay, just give us a tenner. Like I'm a car boot sale or something. Yeah, just tenner's fine. What was I saying? Oh yeah, my
Uh,
process. My
yes,
process.
yes.
Okay, so my process is that I'm like, okay, I don't feel great. The weather looks nice. I think I'm going to go and take pictures. That was my process at the beginning. And the
Yeah.
science behind how I got so good so quickly is because I have an eidetic memory. Now, these are often misunderstood because people think they've got a photographic memory. A photographic memory is a very different thing. It's actually more disabling than it is helpful, because when you remember everything, you can't forget anything. Now, that would be horrific for me. I'd hate that. But an eidetic memory means that when I think of memories, memories don't come to me like words. Memories come to me as pure pictures,
Yeah.
and it's so intense when I remember things. It feels like I'm actually there. So my mind can look at something. It doesn't even have to be an important memory. They just looks at something like a map. So before sat nav, I used to drive around. I'd look at an A to Z map. I'd plan my route to the place I was going to, and then I'd put that map aside, and that map was like burned into my head, and I
Nice.
would just drive there. And Sylvia used to go, "How are you doing this?" And I go, "I." This is before I knew I was autistic. I was like, "I don't know. I just remember everything that I just saw because I looked at the map, I figured out the route, and then I went there." I can't do that anymore because SatNav broke me. Like, it's too easy. I can't make it to the
Yeah.
shops without using a Google Maps now. I'm like, where am I? I'm all lost. Yeah, Google ruined me. Anyway, so essentially, what I was doing when I was getting into photography is I was looking at other pictures because they made me happy, and I was like, wow, these pictures are beautiful. How are they so beautiful all over the world? These pictures are gorgeous. They made looking at other people's photography made me happy. So what I would do is I would like, oh, well, I like those types of pictures. I like that style. I like that composition. And then I would have all these images in my head. So then when I went out into nature, when I went out into my own environment, because I didn't go to the places I saw the pictures of, I just went to my own places.
Yeah.
But instinctively, because I had all these images burned into my brain, I knew exactly what made decent angles, decent lighting, decent
Yes.
compositions, because it was just all there. And this is the great thing about being neurodivergent as well. Not only the hyperfocus, but this ability to mimic.
Pattern
It's how,
recognition. This
yes,
is
it's
like,
how
yes.
you get autistic people that go, "Oh, I can hear a piano," and then they just go and play the piano, and people are
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you're a genius." I'm like, "That's not genius. That's autistic mimicking," and
Yes.
it is insanely good. Unfortunately, sometimes it can be insanely disabling,
Yeah.
um, because we do it even when it's harmful. So we might mimic in social situations where we're like, oh, I really want to fit in. So we mimic, but we might be mimicking negative behavior.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because obviously when you're a kid, you might see someone smoking or something like that, and other kids are like, oh, he's so cool. And go, oh, that means that I should do that if I need to be cool. And then you just copy people, and then you end up, you know, making bad decisions because you're so desperate to mimic.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can also end up mimicking TV shows, and we know that not all TV shows are particularly great. But we are very easily influenced. But anyway, in this situation, it was very good. It was very good for me, not so good for my family. They tended to get a bit sick of me taking about 1,000 pictures every time we went on a walk, which is what I would do. Like, it's crazy because I went for a photography trip for 4 days. Just came back from Snowdonia, loved it. Just went with me and my friend Rick, and I took about 400 pictures over the entire time. Most of those were the same picture. What what I've actually found is when I'm pointing at a scene and I take the picture and I know that it's good, but I keep taking the same picture because and I only realized this after 5 years. I only realized this the other day. I went, oh my God, that's stimming.
Yes.
I'm like, why am I constantly pressing the button? And I'm like, Oh, because it feels really good to just take a picture.
Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
got like 10 pictures of the same image. I'm only going to use one, but it feels really nice to keep doing that.
Amazing. And just quickly, explain to people what stimming is, those who may not be aware of what stimming is.
Okay, Google it. No, I'm joking. Stimming, stimming is a voluntary or involuntary action. Um, Sometimes it's a movement, sometimes it's like speech. But also stimming can be like visual. So you want to look at something, maybe want to touch something. It's essentially the way we self-soothe. So
Yeah.
there's different types of stimming, but it's a self-soothing thing. But unfortunately, sometimes there is harmful stimming where we will do something that essentially makes us feel good, but is actually hurting us,
Yeah.
which I like, picking at your lip or biting yourself, or I used to smack my head
Yeah.
because the feeling of the vibration and the sort of almost unconsciousness that I would get to that point because I was smacking my head so hard, it didn't hurt me. I actually liked it, but physically it was very damaging to my head to keep smacking it on things. But
Yes.
my head is really hard, so I can smack it a lot and it doesn't hurt. It actually feels nice, but it's still harmful stimming. So
Yeah.
essentially, yeah, that's what stimming is. It's actions that we do in order to self-soothe. The
Yes.
thing that the neurotypical world doesn't seem to understand is that we need that. It isn't that we want to do it, we need to do it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting. I had a revelation. I was thinking back. So I quit smoking in 2017. So a good few
Yeah.
years before. Thank you. Yeah, a good few years before I found out I was autistic. And what was interesting when I quit smoking, and I knew there was no doubt in my mind that, that was it. I was done. I was done. But what would happen is sort of, out of nowhere, a couple months down the line, I'd be fine, but I would have a meltdown out of nowhere. And I could tell it was my body wanting a cigarette. My mind didn't want it, but my body was. And it was very and that kept going on for a good year and a half, just out of nowhere. Every couple of months I would have a meltdown. And again, I didn't know what meltdowns were. I didn't know I was autistic, but I look back on that and I realized, for me, there was the obvious addiction to nicotine, but smoking was also a stim for me. It was also stimming, just the act of smoking. And with that taken away from me, I felt my body felt really, it was really difficult. I mean, I got through it and it was fine. And I have lots of healthy stims, lots of visual stims and all sorts of different ones. But yeah, but it's interesting how addiction can be the physical addiction, but also the mental addiction for regulating. So it's interesting how that works. I've just realized it's time for the pickle of destiny.
Hooray! I love a pickle.
Excellent. Right. So this is just a random question sent in by a listener. So if you could spend a month learning from an expert, what and who would you choose and why?
Oh, I would, if I could learn from an expert. I don't actually think that that's a thing. I don't think anyone's an expert. If I could learn from someone who's a specialist, I actually would want to learn more about the brain, like more
Yeah.
about evolution. So I think if I could actually just sit down and talk to someone, it would probably be David Attenborough
Ah,
because
amazing.
like I would just want to like his insight into like the natural world. I think would just be invaluable to me. And I just love talking about animals, talking about nature. So I think if I could spend like a month just talking to David Attenborough, that would be my absolute dream. Just learning everything, just so I could be not so, oh, I can go and do a degree or I can go and get a job, because I could be even more connected to nature. Because the
Yeah.
more I'm connected to nature, the happier I am as a person.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
is why what you did for me helped me so much, because you connected me to nature in my mind.
Amazing. Amazing, amazing. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And we'll talk further about this off the podcast, but something that came up in one of our sessions together that you came up with, I'm now using with other clients. So I must thank you as
Yeah,
well for
that
this.
that tracks. I'm a game changer. I can't help it.
It's so beautiful, this reciprocity. And this is what I love about my job, is that, I learn things all the time from my clients, and it's this continual sharing of tools and learning from each other. And also, when I'm telling people and clients and things, about the mind and wellness and all of that, I'm reminding myself at the same time. And same with this podcast, hearing people's stories and hearing how other people really build their resilience and deepen their self-care is so inspiring to me. And I learn new things every day. So yeah, so brilliant. And speaking of nature, and soothing ourselves and calming ourselves, I think it's time to get down to business and cultivate the witness. So every podcast we cultivate the witness. Cultivating the witness is it's all about grounding ourselves in the present moment. And the best way to do that, or one of there's so many different ways of doing that. So each episode we have a guided meditation at the end. And so today's meditation will be from myself, but also, yes, inspiration from nature as well. But before we get to that, do you have anything that you would like to plug? I know you've got a beautiful book out. Do you have any speaking engagements or anything that you would like to plug today?
No, I've ran out of spoons. No, yeah, no, I don't like plugging stuff. It's kind of just, I mean, I've got the book that you mentioned. Basically, you said it all. And if anybody
Wants to follow me on Facebook, Jordan James.
the autistic photographer, uh, Jordan, oh, I can't remember what it is now.
I'll put all your links in the
I can't
description.
remember.
What my Instagram is. I think it's just Joe, the autistic photographer. Yeah, Joe, the autistic photographer on Instagram. Just less of a plug and more of like, if you like pretty pictures, have a look. Because what I would say about my photography more than anything else is the reason, especially neurodivergent people love it so much, is because when I create it, when I take it, when I edit it, when I make it what it is,
It's me mentally making myself happy. So I'm soothing myself. And I think that comes across. I know it does, because people keep saying that when
they look at my pictures, it relaxes them. They can just look at them all day and it just relaxes them. And I'm like, I'm so happy that something I do, something that makes me feel good, then goes on to make other people feel good.
Yes.
And the other great thing is, because I'm autistic and so open about it, and when people see how beautiful my pictures are, and I go, this is because I'm autistic, it makes people more likely to be proud and see autism in a positive light. So my photography really like works on so many levels of just positive, 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 which is why I ended up getting my first tattoo, my first ever picture of a stag. I got it tattooed on my arm, and that stag, his name is Jeremy, and that's the stag that you, Ashley, um, helped me find in my sort of my safe space in my own mind in this forest. That stag is the symbol of my strength, is my guide, and now he's like with me all the time. And you have no idea how much more self-disciplined I am, but in a positive way. Like, I don't feel like, oh, I'm really sad today, I need to go and spend lots of money or eat bad food, or I can just be like, oh, I'm sad today, but I have a better, healthier way of dealing with that now. And that is completely and utterly thanks to you. So I
Love
want
that.
to just thank you for giving me my inner strength to really be able to have much better self-control when it comes to like almost being self-destructive. I'm far less self-destructive because of you.
That's amazing. That's so beautiful. You are so welcome, and thank you for those beautiful words. And you know, the beautiful thing is we all have this within we all have the solution within us, whatever's going on. And that's the beautiful thing. And I think that's where we can give everybody hope out there, no matter what you're going through. You've got the solution within you. It's just about tapping into that and believing in it, and cultivating a sense of trust and curiosity and hope, and accessing that inner wisdom that's there within all of us. That's really beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're well. I mean,
Um,
you're welcome. I just keep telling everyone. They go, oh yeah, I'm looking for therapy, and I'm like, look no further. And then they're like, oh, what type of therapy? And they go, and I go, it's hypnotherapy. And then I see their face, and I go, stop that. It's not what you think, because that's what I thought
yeah.
till I read. Oh, I can't remember. It's a Leanne Moriarty. You can edit this bit out actually. Leanne Moriarty's book about Leanne Moriarty, hypnotist. Yeah. Okay, so it's called Leanne Moriarty, the hypnotist love story.
All right.
Leanne Moriarty is my favorite female writer, along with Karen Travis, who wrote all the Gears of War books and the Halo books. But yeah, Leanne Moriarty, she also wrote Big Little Lies. That was a big
Okay.
TV show. Just
Yes.
recently come out is The Apple Doesn't Fall Far, I think was her latest book, and that's now come out as a TV show. Um, I'm just a huge. She's Australian, and like it's just written from a female perspective, and I love listening to those books. It makes me understand women like a million times more, to the point where I can just be so much more empathetic to women, which is why most of the participants, I say about 70% of the participants in my book, The Autistic Experience, um, are assigned female at birth. You know, because I think that there is such a hardship for women who are neurodivergent, because masking becomes so much more integral to
Yeah.
their entire being, because of this standard that society just puts on women in general, let alone neurodivergent women. There's like this standard that you have to adhere to, whereas when I grew up, it's, oh, boys will be boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Women should be this, but boys will be boys. There never seems to be some societal expectation of exactly what a boy should be. They should just be a boy.
Yeah.
But girls should be proper, girls should be polite, girls shouldn't swear, or girls shouldn't do dirty jobs. And it's like, why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just why?
Yeah.
I've never quite understood that, but it makes it worse. So that was why, for me, I love listening to these books. But yeah, the hypnotist love story, when I read that, I was like, oh, hypnotizing isn't Paul McKenna. Like, that's not what hypnotizing is. It's not Paul McKenna. It's not a sideshow.
No.
It's more about you as a person seeing inside yourself than
Yes.
like you going, oh, once I snap my fingers, you'll be talking like a chicken.
Yeah. No.
None
No.
of that. You can't do that. Like
No.
that's not a thing. That's fake. But what you do, you make me see myself, and you basically act as like a guide to help me heal myself. So you're
Yes.
not healing me, you're guiding me to the better place.
Exactly. It's a great metaphor is like I'm like the sat nav and you are both
Yes.
the car and the driver.
Yeah.
And so you can choose to follow me or you can choose to override me. It's not mind control, it's handing you more control. So
I
yeah.
mean, I would have never found that place for myself, and I would never have found my guides and that strength inside me if it wasn't for you guiding me. I wouldn't have known, because I just don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to do it, and that's where you have helped me more than anyone outside my family has ever helped me. You helped me,
Wow.
and I mean, I will never ever forget that.
Well, I am so honored because I know you know a lot of mental health professionals as well. So
I do, and you're the best.
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's really, really lovely of you to say. Thank you so much. And we're gonna keep with the nature theme in our meditation today. And I know you've got to run soon, so we'll have this be a nice, quick meditation. And very quickly, all of the listeners, if anybody is driving or operating heavy machinery, please make sure to pause this recording and come back to it when you can come into stillness. So, everybody, if you could just begin by finding a comfortable position, seated position, and adjust your body in any way that it needs at this moment. And as you come into stillness, closing your eyes gently and taking a nice deep breath in through your nose and let it out through your mouth. With eyes closed, I invite you to take a moment to notice how you feel here now at the beginning of this practice. And begin to allow yourself to settle in. And as you focus on your breathing now, allowing your body to relax deeper and deeper. Allowing your whole body to empty of tension. Whole body is just draining of tension with each breath. And feel the ground beneath you, supporting your body. And just imagine, only imagine now, roots extending from your feet, anchoring you to the earth. And as you continue to relax deeply, just allow yourself to let go of any expectations or judgments you may have about this meditation. Simply be present in this moment, allowing yourself to fully experience whatever arises. We set an intention for this meditation to slow down, connect with your inner self, and ground yourself in the present moment. Can you imagine your breath as a gentle river flowing through your being? And imagine a warm light radiating from your heart center, spreading throughout the entirety of your body. That's right. As you focus your awareness on your breath, can you at the same time bring your awareness to the center of your forehead, the mind's eye center? With each inhale, can you imagine you're breathing in through the center of your forehead? And as you breathe out, imagine a golden light spreading down throughout the entirety of your body. With each inhale, visualize your breath entering this sacred space into the mind's eye center. Letting go of any mental chatter or distractions. Exhaling out, imagine this golden light flowing outward through your entire body. Expanding your awareness of your body. You are a vessel of light, connected to the earth and the cosmos. Picture yourself now sitting under a majestic tree, its roots anchored deep into the earth. So you too have roots extending downward. Feel the stability, the ancient wisdom, and the nourishment flowing from the earth into your being. Imagine the tree's branches reaching towards the sky, touching the heavens. You are part of this cosmic dance, dear friends. Breathe in the essence of this majestic tree. The rustling leaves, the scent of the bark, the timeless presence. Repeating silently inside, I am grounded like the roots. I am expansive like the branches. I am present like the leaves. Remember, dear friends, you are both the seeker and the sought. You are both the dreamer and the dream. You are the creator and the created. As we bring this meditation to a close, just take a moment to express a deep gratitude for the opportunity to explore the depths of your own consciousness. Gently bringing your awareness back to the sensations of your body and the space around you. Allowing yourself to reorient to the present moment with a sense of clarity, gratitude, and presence. Namaste. Jordan James, this has been an absolute honor and privilege and pleasure. I could talk for hours, and I hope to have you back on, actually, because I'm going to do a whole series of neurodivergence. So I hope you will join us again, and we can continue this conversation. There's so much to talk about.
You will always have me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And don't forget, to everybody out there, to listen to the Neurodivergent Experience as well, your podcast.
Yeah,
with
it's my favorite thing in the world to me right now. It is.
yes,
I
yes.
say right now, forever. I promise. I won't lose interest. No, I won't. It is the future of my advocacy. Like I've realized that social media, has its uses and it's been great, but the future of my advocacy, if I'm really going to help change things the way I want to change them, I need to make my podcast, which is co-hosted by like one of my best friends in the whole world. I consider him to be a brother. Simon Scott. Our podcast is our gift to the world to help change it.
yes,
So it
yes.
is a big, big thing for me.
I love it. Let's heal the world. Let's heal the world together. I
That
love
is
it.
all I want to do.
Yeah.
I want people to feel as good about themselves as I do. That is what I care about.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much. I will let you go and I will speak to
Basketball.
you.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Enjoy, enjoy.
See
Take care and I will see you soon.
you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
If I could sing or play an instrument for you, I would sing and play an instrument for you. If I could dance for you, I would dance for you. If I could paint for you, I would paint for you. But my thing is words. But the problem about words is that you may listen to them.
And that would be a mistake.